Across the UK, grand halls and ancient estates whisper secrets by night. Dark shadows roam their walls, and restless spirits wait in the silence. Join us as we uncover the chilling, forgotten tales hidden within. 1. Ryfart Hall. In a quiet corner of Audenshaw, Greater Manchester, stands a building that has seen grandeur, grief, and ghosts. This is Ryfart Hall, and some say it never truly sleeps. Built in the mid-19th century by wealthy industrialist James Smith Buckley, Ryfart Hall was once a proud symbol of Victorian prosperity, but its history took a darker turn during the First World War when it was transformed into a military hospital for the wounded and dying. Behind its elegant facade, lives were saved and lost. Some believe that those echoes of trauma have left a lasting impression, not just in memory, but in spirit. Visitors and staff have reported chilling encounters, footsteps echoing down empty corridors, doors creaking open on their own, and, most famously, the ghostly figure of a nurse, seen gliding silently through the halls. She wears a long white uniform, her presence accompanied by the faint scent of antiseptic. Some say she's searching for a patient who never made it home. One former caretaker recounted seeing the figure by the main staircase, standing motionless, staring straight ahead. When he looked again, she was gone. Others speak of piano music playing in the dead of night, yet the old piano was removed years ago. The temperature in certain rooms drops suddenly as though something or someone has entered. Today, Ryfart Hall is a community centre hosting local events, meetings and celebrations. But ask the staff and some will tell you they never stay alone after dark. It's a place where history lingers in the walls, and perhaps so do its former residents. Next time, we head to the crumbling grandeur of Winstanley Hall, where time has stopped and shadows move on their own. 2. Winstanley Hall. Hidden in the dense woods just outside Wigan, Winstanley Hall stands like a frozen memory, a crumbling relic of Tudor pride, slowly being reclaimed by time. And perhaps something darker. Built in the 1560s by the Winstanley family, this once grand Elizabethan manor was passed into the hands of the Banks family, local gentry with deep roots and deeper secrets. For centuries, it was filled with opulence, tapestries, portraits, candlelight and laughter echoing through the great halls. But that laughter faded long ago. By the mid-20th century, the house was abandoned, left to rot under grey northern skies. Its walls began to crack, ivy crawled through the windows. Yet something remained, watching. Locals have long whispered of strange lights flickering in the upper rooms. Despite there being no electricity, others report shadowy figures moving behind the glass. There are no caretakers here, no staff, and no reason for anyone to be inside. One urban explorer described hearing faint footsteps above him, slow, deliberate, in a building that should have been empty. Another claimed his camera malfunctioned the moment he stepped into the drawing room, only to resume working once he left the property. He never went back. Some say the spirit of Lady Anne Banks haunts the West Wing. A proud woman in life, now reduced to a weeping silhouette, pacing the corridors at dusk. Her portrait, once hung in the main stairwell, was found torn from the frame, though no one had been inside for years. But the most chilling tale comes from a group of teenagers who broke in on a dare. One reportedly vanished from the group for nearly 20 minutes, only to be found sitting silently in the old library, staring at nothing. When asked what happened, all he could say was, "She told me not to leave." Today, Winstanley Hall remains off-limits, a crumbling shell behind rusted gates and overgrown paths, The structure is unsafe, the legends even more so. Developers have tried to restore it, but every attempt has failed. It's as though the hall refuses to be touched, and those who enter are quietly reminded. Some places are forgotten for a reason. Next, we travel to the Welsh borderlands, to Vhangle Court, where elegance and the unexplained exist side by side. 3. Vhangle Court. Tucked away in the rolling hills of Monmouthshire lies Vhangle Court, an elegant manor house steeped in centuries of history and whispers of the unexplained. Dating back to the 16th century, this stately home once belonged to a prominent Welsh family whose influence shaped the local community for generations. Its stone walls have witnessed everything from festive gatherings to times of war and unrest. Yet beneath its grandeur lies a shadow that refuses to fade. Residents and visitors have long spoken of the Grey Lady, a spectral figure said to appear on the grand staircase, her presence heralded by a sudden drop in temperature and an eerie silence that falls over the house. Legend has it she was once a noblewoman, caught in a tragic love affair whose untimely death left her spirit restless. Some say she still wanders the corridors, mourning a life never fully lived. Guests who have stayed overnight describe cold drafts in rooms that should be warm, shadow and soft footsteps echoing through empty halls. Others recount glimpses of her flowing grey dress, disappearing around corners, just beyond sight. One particularly unsettling account comes from a tour guide who paused mid-tour upon hearing faint whispers, only to find no one else nearby. The voices seem to come from the walls themselves, murmuring secrets lost to time. Despite these eerie tales, Vhangle Court remains a beloved landmark, carefully preserved and occasionally open for visitors wishing to glimpse its historic beauty, and perhaps encounter the unknown. Whether skeptic or believer, stepping inside Vhangle Court is to walk between past and present, where history and hauntings intertwine. Next, we journey to the heart of York, to the Guildhall, a building where justice was once served and where some say the echoes of the condemned still linger. 4. The Guildhall. In the historic city of York, the Guildhall stands as a testament to centuries of civic power and solemn justice. Built in the 15th century, this grand timber-framed building once hosted court trials, town meetings and executions, a place where law and order were enforced with an iron hand. But behind its impressive facade lurks a darker history, whispered in the shadows of its long, echoing corridors. Visitors and council workers alike have reported eerie occurrences, doors slamming shut of their own accord, footsteps pacing the empty hallways late at night, and chilling whispers that seem to come from the very walls. One chilling account comes from a security guard who, during a late shift, heard the unmistakable clatter of chains dragging across the stone floor. When he investigated, he found nothing, yet the feeling of being watched lingered long after. Some believe these phenomena are the restless spirits of those who once faced judgment here, souls unable to find peace after harsh sentences were carried out. The courtroom, in particular, is said to be haunted by a shadowy figure, glimpsed standing silently in the corner, watching over the proceedings even now, long after the last gavel has fallen. Despite restoration efforts that have preserved the Guildhall's historic charm, the building's spectral residents have made their presence known time and time again. Today, the Guildhall remains in use, hosting civic events and public functions, but some staff prefer to avoid working alone after dark. For those who visit, the Guildhall offers a unique glimpse into York's rich past, mingled with the eerie reminders that history isn't always at rest. Next, we turn to a mysterious townhouse on High Street, Court Residence, where whispers of a tragic past echo through the halls.
5.
Court Residence. Nestled among the bustling storefronts and cobbled pavements of an old high street stands Court Residence, a Georgian townhouse with a history as layered as its brickwork. From the outside, it seems unremarkable, blending into the rhythm of daily life, but step inside, and a different story unfolds. Constructed in the late 18th century, Court Residence once belonged to a respected local family. Yet behind the elegant sash windows and ornate doorways lies a tale shadowed by tragedy. Legend tells of a young woman who lived here over 2 centuries ago. Caught in a forbidden love affair, she met a sudden and mysterious end within these very walls. Some say her restless spirit still lingers, a silent witness to the heartbreak and secrets she could never escape. Over the years, residents have reported chilling experiences, flickering lights that seem to dance without cause, unexplained cold drafts that sweep through rooms sealed tight against the winter chill, and the unmistakable feeling of being watched when alone. One longtime tenant spoke of waking in the dead of night to find a shadowy figure standing by the window, motionless yet undeniably present. When questioned, others shared similar stories. Doors opening and closing by themselves, faint whispers just beyond comprehension, and the occasional, inexplicable sound of footsteps pacing the empty hallway. Strangely, these phenomena seem to peak every 50 years, according to local folklore, as if the spirit's energy waxes and wanes with time, waiting for something or someone. Despite these tales, Court Residence remains a cherished part of the community, a reminder of the past nestled amid modern life. Its residents come and go, though few stay too long after dusk. Is it simply the power of old stories and fertile imaginations, or is there something more lurking beneath the surface, a lingering sorrow that refuses to rest? Whatever the truth, Court Residence continues to captivate those who pass by, a silent guardian of secrets, memories, and perhaps a lingering ghost. Next, we journey northward to Hodroid Hall, a remote manor where history and mystery intertwine in the quiet Yorkshire countryside.
6.
Hodroid Hall. Nestled deep within the serene Yorkshire countryside, Hodroid Hall stands as a quiet sentinel of history and mystery. This 16th century manor, once home to wealthy landowners and tied closely to monastic traditions, carries with it stories that echo far beyond its ancient stone walls. Throughout its long life, Hodroid Hall has been witness to centuries of change, from peaceful pastoral days to turbulent times of religious upheaval. Yet, it's the unexplained events that continue to captivate those who visit. Locals speak of the manor's eerie atmosphere, a heaviness that hangs in the air, thick enough to be felt. Guests often report sudden drops in temperature, followed by the unmistakable sound of children's laughter drifting through empty corridors. Perhaps the most mysterious presence is a cloaked figure, glimpsed by several visitors. Moving silently through the shadowed hallways, this apparition seems to watch without menace, as though bound to the house by a story lost to time. Paranormal investigators who have explored Hodroid Hall speak of EVP recordings filled with faint voices and whispered names, sounds that defy explanation. Cameras capture unexplained orbs of light floating through rooms untouched for centuries. One former caretaker recounted an experience that sent shivers down his spine. While locking up late one evening, he heard the soft patter of footsteps following him. When he turned, no one was there, yet the feeling of unseen eyes never left him. Despite its haunted reputation, Hodroid Hall remains a place of quiet beauty, where history and mystery entwine. The manor opens its doors on rare occasions, inviting brave souls to explore its past and perhaps encounter the spirits that linger still. For those drawn to the unexplained, Hodroid Hall offers a glimpse into a world where time stands still and the veil between past and present grows thin. Next, our journey takes us south to Kent, to Baham Court in Teston, where history and haunting go hand in hand.
7.
Baham Court. In the peaceful village of Teston, Kent, stands Baham Court, an elegant manor steeped in centuries of history and enigma. Built in the 16th century, this grand estate has been witness to the rise and fall of families, wars, and whispered secrets that refuse to fade. Yet beneath its stately exterior, Baham Court harbors tales of restless spirits and inexplicable happenings that have intrigued locals and visitors alike. Residents recount strange phenomena, flickering lights in rooms long abandoned, sudden cold spots that chill to the bone, and distant footsteps echoing through empty corridors, as if unseen inhabitants still walk its halls. One particularly chilling story involves a spectral figure known as the Lady in White. Dressed in flowing, pale garments, she is said to roam the upper floors at night, her presence marked by the soft scent of lavender and an overwhelming feeling of sorrow. Local legend suggests she was once a noblewoman betrayed in love, doomed to wander the house in search of peace she never found in life. Several witnesses have reported seeing her silhouette in the moonlight, standing silently by the window, gazing out into the gardens as if waiting for someone to return. Baham Court's gardens, too, hold secrets. Visitors have described sudden gusts of cold wind on warm days, and strange whispers that seem to rise from the earth itself, as though the land remembers tragedies long buried beneath its soil. Paranormal investigators who have visited the estate speak of electronic disturbances and unexplained recordings, capturing voices and sounds that defy rational explanation. Despite its eerie reputation, Baham Court remains a cherished piece of Kent's heritage, a place where history and hauntings intertwine, inviting those brave enough to uncover its mysteries. Next, we travel to the ancient town of Malden, to the Moot Hall, where justice and ghostly whispers collide in a historic setting.
8.
The Moot Hall. In the historic town of Malden, Essex, the Moot Hall stands as a proud emblem of centuries-old civic life. Built in the early 15th century, this timber-framed building has served as a courthouse, council chamber, and gathering place for the local community. But beneath its charming facade lies a story steeped in shadow and mystery. For generations, the Moot Hall was the stage for trials, proclamations, and the administration of justice. The echoes of heated debates and solemn judgments still seem to linger in its age-wooden beams. Yet, many who have walked its halls speak of an uneasy presence, a haunting that refuses to be silenced. Staff and visitors alike report unexplained footsteps reverberating through the empty rooms long after closing time. Doors have been known to slam shut without warning, and cold spots chill the air despite the warmth outside. One of the most chilling tales centers around a ghostly figure dressed in period clothing, believed to be a former magistrate or prisoner, seen wandering the corridors, lost in time. Local legend tells of a prisoner who met a tragic fate within these walls, his spirit condemned to roam the hallways, forever trapped between justice and oblivion. Paranormal investigators have recorded faint whispers, disembodied voices, and even shadowy shapes caught on camera, all reinforcing the building's eerie reputation. Despite these ghostly stories, the Moot Hall continues to serve as a community hub, welcoming visitors keen to glimpse its historic charm and perhaps encounter a glimpse of the past. As day fades into night, one can't help but wonder, who truly inhabits these ancient halls? Next, we explore Barton Court in Cornwall, a stately home with a dark and mysterious past.
9.
Barton Court. Hidden amidst the rolling Malvern Hills, Barton Court in Cornwall is a grand country house shrouded in history and mystery. Dating back to the 17th century, this stately home has witnessed centuries of English heritage, but also tales that chill the bone. Once the seat of a prominent local family, Barton Court boasts elegant architecture, manicured gardens, and sprawling grounds. Yet behind the stately facade lies a darker story that few dare to speak aloud. Locals have long whispered about strange happenings at Barton Court. Shadows flicker in the corners of dimly lit rooms, cold drafts sweep through sealed corridors, and at night, the sound of disembodied footsteps echoes through the halls. One of the most persistent legends involves the Grey Lady, believed to be the spirit of a woman who met a tragic end within the house. Dressed in a flowing grey gown, she is said to appear most often in the old library, gazing mournfully out of the windows towards the gardens she once loved. A caretaker recounted a chilling encounter. One evening, as he walked through the upper corridors, he was stopped in his tracks by the sudden appearance of a pale figure blocking his path. Though silent, the figure's presence was overwhelming, a mixture of sorrow and warning. Other visitors have reported hearing faint whispers, voices that rise and fall like a distant conversation, but with no visible source. Doors have been found mysteriously locked or unlocked. Lights flicker inexplicably, and treasured antiques have been known to shift position overnight. Perhaps most unsettling is the story of a former owner who vanished without a trace, leaving behind an air of mystery that lingers to this day. Some say his restless spirit remains trapped within the walls, unable to find peace. Today, Barton Court stands as a haunting reminder of the past, where history and the supernatural blend in uneasy harmony. For those who dare, a visit to Barton Court is a step into a world where the veil between the living and the dead is dangerously thin. Next, our final stop takes us to Kusworth Hall in Doncaster, South Yorkshire, a grand estate where elegance meets eerie whispers. 10. Kusworth Hall. Standing proudly amidst the rolling parklands of Doncaster, Kusworth Hall is a magnificent Georgian country house that has welcomed generations of families, visitors, and history alike. But beneath its elegant facade lies a story whispered in hushed tones, a story of hauntings and unquiet spirits. Constructed in the mid-18th century, Kusworth Hall was the ancestral home of the Wright family, whose legacy shaped much of the local region. The house has seen lavish parties, quiet moments of reflection, and the slow passage of time. Yet, those who walk its halls speak of something less tangible, a presence that lingers beyond the years. Visitors and staff have reported cold spots that defy explanation, sudden drops in temperature, and the sensation of being watched from unseen corners. Some have even caught glimpses of shadowy figures moving just beyond the edge of vision. One of the most famous tales tells of a young girl who once lived in the house. Known as the Little Lady in White, her ghost is said to wander the upper floors, her footsteps light and her presence gentle but unmistakable. Many visitors have heard the faint sound of a music box playing in empty rooms, or the soft laughter of a child carried on the breeze. Others speak of doors opening and closing by themselves, and the old grandfather clock chiming at odd hours. Staff have occasionally found objects mysteriously moved, and paintings that seem to watch visitors with eyes that shift ever so slightly. Paranormal investigations here have captured unexplained noises, cold spots, and fleeting images on camera, evidence that Kusworth Hall is a place where the past refuses to be forgotten. Despite the hauntings, Kusworth Hall remains a treasured historic site, welcoming guests who seek to explore its beauty and perhaps encounter the echoes of those who once called it home. As our journey ends, we see that the UK's haunted buildings are more than just old walls and creaking floors. They are living stories, where history and the supernatural intertwine, inviting us to look closer and listen carefully. Thanks for watching. We really enjoy reading your ghost stories and thoughts. Please do keep them coming. We're still working our way through many comments from earlier videos, so thank you for your patience and understanding. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more spooky tales.